Welcome to the ExpandHer podcast with myself, Sarah-Louise Sutton. I am an intuitive energy healer, channel, Reiki teacher, coach, and mentor, and founder of the Inspirit School of Energy, here to help you on your spiritual journey, to up-level your vibration, to activate your soul and purpose, and ultimately elevate your life and business. It is my intention that through myself and special guests, talking about all things intuition, guidance, channeling, manifesting, healing, and energetics, that you get expanded, you feel inspired, and you receive a giant hug for your soul. Thank you so much for being here with me today, and it is from my heart to yours that I am sending you so much love. Hello, welcome back to the ExpandHer podcast. I hope you're having a lovely day so far. I really do. I was just feeling super inspired to share a few really key themes that have been coming through in a lot of my private sessions recently. I kind of say like the last 3 weeks. I'd say the last 3 weeks-ish. These messages have been coming through so much for clients, along with 2 specific tarot cards, right? I've picked these 2 cards, not necessarily at the same time for people, but I've picked these 2 cards so much over the last 3 weeks. It's actually hilarious now at this point. And the messages that have been coming through from my client spirit guides have been very similar along with these cards. And so although the messages aren't exact from each client to client, like how it kind of comes through for them specifically is maybe a little bit different, but there's just clear themes and kind of threads moving through. And so I wanted to share it here in this episode because I just feel like, if it's really present for so many of my clients, I just have no doubt that it's going to be very present for many more, basically. And, I also do trust, the thing with podcast episodes is, they're not always listened at the time of releasing them. It's not that kind of platform necessarily. And so, I do trust that you are hearing this when you're meant to, and you'll know if this resonates or not, right? You'll know if this is something for you to take note of. You'll feel it in your body. So also trust that no matter when you're listening to this, you'll know if it's a message for you and if it's something for you to also take on board. So the first theme that's been coming through a lot is all about really looking after yourself right now, really nourishing yourself right now, like putting your energy and how you feel first. So the card that's been coming through along with this message has been the 7 of Pentacles. And the 7 of Pentacles traditionally doesn't actually mean what I've just mentioned. The 7 of Pentacles is actually about really nourishing and nurturing what it is that you're trying to build or create. So, for example, if you're starting a business, like this card would generally and traditionally symbolize that in order for your business to grow, you need to be looking after it. You need to be giving it attention and, really putting the time in and really nourishing it, basically. But the message that has been coming through from my client spirit guides along with this card, and it's like I said, it's not always been exactly the same, but it's been a version of this, is that in order for your business or your career or your success or your abundance or opportunities around you to grow and to flourish, you need to be looking after yourself and your energy. Not kind of what you think you need to be looking after. Naturally, we think that when we want something to grow, we need to put more energy into it. We need to do more. We need to take more action. We need to try harder. But the message that's been coming through is really about, in order for those things to grow, in order for the abundance and the success to open up even more, it's actually about nourishing yourself and your own energy. And so this is like a message of fill up your cup, fill up you, like time to really replenish yourself with things that make you feel good. And so that could be spending time or more time with your kind of spiritual practices or personal development practices like journaling or meditating or doing the energy healings or channeling, whatever it might be for you that makes you feel filled up, right? Whatever feels like it's nourishing and nurturing you. It might be going to yoga classes, it might be letting yourself have a massage, it might be booking in a session with someone that just feels nourishing and like you're being looked after. Equally, it might be just resting. It literally might be spending more time just actually not needing to do anything. Like just absolutely giving yourself permission to switch off, read a book, watch TV if that feels good, just sit in silence if that feels good. Like maybe that is what you're needing, is to just fully switch off mind and body. Maybe it's going out and actually having some fun, like filling yourself up with that kind of energy, like spending time with friends, going shopping, seeing some nice, right now it's like Christmassy time, so going and seeing some nice Christmassy things, like maybe that's what's going to fill you back up. Ultimately, what fills you up right now is going to be different for everyone. And, it might be just letting yourself have some fun, letting your hair down, doing things that make you laugh and just feel that kind of free, light energy. Like I said, it might be more practices and personal development. It might just be resting, but you'll know what will help you fill up your cup. You will know that. And this is ultimately like a message that's just been coming through of filling up your cup is what you need in whatever way that is for you. Like really looking after yourself, like really treating your energy and how you feel is as important as the physical work that you are doing. And, not only is this, needed for you, for your energy, for your well-being, for your health, for your nervous system, for your frequency and your vibration, but also, the message that was coming through is that this is actually what's going to help the business or the career or the abundance or the success or the opportunities come and arrive and grow. Like that is what is going to give you that result. And so it's not about, when you have some time off or you prioritize yourself, it's not about, but, you have to take a back seat with stuff, or your work might suffer, or your money this month might suffer. The message is like, actually, no, like it is looking after you that's going to make that grow. And obviously, if you're someone with like a salary and let's say a 9 to 5 where you've got set hours, then it's not necessarily obviously breaking rules and just taking a load of time off, but it is just actually bringing awareness to you and your energy. And although, not everyone has the ability to earn more or have more success within their job or their role or their career or their business, but it's like understanding that right now, the more you prioritize your energy and yourself and just feeling good, things will start to arrive, whether it is just better opportunities or just unexpected things happening in a material sense. So it definitely is about kind of work, money, success, opportunities arriving. Like it is one of those kind of themes. But it can show up in other ways, if you have a salary and you're like, well, I can't earn more even if I wanted to, it's like it will show up in other ways. Like when your energy field is magnetic, trust me, it will come. And so it's just understanding, it's not necessarily you have to take time off. It's just prioritizing your energy is going to create growth around you. And actually, like the specific card that I have for the Seven of Pentacles in my deck, the deck that I use a lot right now, it symbolizes this so beautifully. So like the image, and I did show this on one of the collective readings this week, but the image is of a woman watering a plant, and then around that plant is like basically money just coming up from the ground, like money growing basically. And this is such a beautiful symbol of this message. And not all tarot cards symbolize it in this way. It's actually quite different in a lot of decks. But it's like by watering yourself, like you are the plant right now. You are that plant. And by watering yourself is what is going to bring more growth and more success in these areas to you. Like, it's by watering yourself that that's going to happen, not by doing more, not by working harder, not by forcing yourself through kind of feeling tired and feeling sluggish and like feeling depleted. Like, it's not about forcing through that. It's about nourishing yourself through that you're going to get what you want. And that I can really, really feel for a lot of people right now. And so, feel into this for yourself. Like, if this is something you need to listen to right now, you'll know it in your body if this is, something that's very present for you. The good news is, is that your energy is always going to support how magnetic you are. That's just a no-brainer. Like, your energy is one of the greatest currencies that you have. And so feeling good and you feeling great is always going to help your magnetism. But it just feels like right now, it just feels like it's a very heightened kind of energy, and it almost feels like when I was doing the collective reading, I had like the image of like a rose wilting coming through, and it was like, there's a lot of kind of depletion right now. I can feel like a lot of people's energy is feeling quite low. It's feeling quite depleted. Like, we're coming to the end of the year. It's been a long year, although it's gone ridiculously quick. It's been a long year, and it's like there is a lot of depletion in the air, and it kind of feels like right now more than ever it's important to be nourishing yourself and bringing that wilted kind of rose back to life, so to speak, by looking after yourself. That's how you do that, by watering yourself, by filling up your cup again. And so although, it's always good things to prioritize how you feel, without a shadow of a doubt, like right now, it just feels more important, and it just feels like it's kind of more about going from feeling depleted to feeling good again and flourishing again. And that is where you will be so magnetic. So yeah, feels very important. And this was a very, 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 very strong theme that has been coming through for the last few weeks. And even my session today, it came up again. It's like hilarious, absolutely hilarious. So that was the first thing I wanted to share. The other theme that's been coming through is all about kind of thinking about the long term. And the card that's been coming through a lot about this is the Ten of Pentacles. And the Ten of Pentacles, again, it's another Pentacles, but it is traditionally more about like building a kind of legacy. Like, it's that kind of energy, this card. So it is very much long-term, like long-term goals, long-term success, building something, like building an empire. It's a very, very strong energy. But the kind of messages that have been coming through for a lot of my clients around this have been along the lines of thinking more long-term with what you are like focusing on or building or creating right now. Like, it feels like over the last year, or even more than that, potentially, it feels like there's been a lot of kind of rushing energy and a lot of kind of going for more short-term gains kind of energy, and just thinking a lot more short-term. And although, I'm definitely not one for long-term planning personally, and although I don't always encourage that when you're working on a soul level, because the soul is very present-based, and the soul is very much like, what's the guidance leading you to next? But the energy that has been coming through recently is just so much more about thinking long term, and not necessarily having these plans or having all of the details, and not fixating on a goal necessarily. It's just allowing yourself to think about the longer vision. And that's open to change, right? So it's not about going against your soul. It's not about ignoring any guidance that comes along the way. But it just feels like we're really moving away from thinking a bit more short term and like what you need now or what you want in the short term, like, this kind of rushing energy. And it's just about more going into things with a bit more of a long-term intention. So again, it's not about being strict with this. It's not about setting a goal and not ever swaying from that goal. It is just more of an energy, it's more of an intention and more of an awareness of like maybe the vision that you're aiming for long term, but also how sustainable it is as to what you're currently working on. And so let's say you have a business, or you're creating a business, or you're building a business, or you're growing a business. It's like, are you thinking right now short term, or are you thinking long term? Are you thinking, how sustainable is this? Like, can you keep doing this and not get burnt out? How sustainable is this in terms of your energy? How good does this thing feel for you, right? Because if it doesn't make you feel good, if you're not enjoying it, that's not sustainable either. This is also how this has been showing up for some people. So it's like, it might be sustainable in terms of energy output, and you not getting depleted, but do you love it? Or are you going to be sick of it in a year, in 2 years, right? It's about really thinking like about building or creating something that is like long-term sustainable in terms of you love it, you enjoy it, and it's kind of that more easeful, slow and steady wins the race kind of energy. And this is open to change, right? In the sense that if you start aiming towards more of a long-term thing and you start to set a new vision in front of you, like you really still want to remain open to the signs and open to the guidance along the way. Like, it is so important that if your priority and a big value that you have is to be aligned with your soul and aligned with your purpose, then it is so important that you are always looking out for the signs and for the guidance, that something is out of alignment and something can change, or there's something better for you. There's something else that you're being called towards. Like, it's so important that you do not have your blinkers on if you want to stay deeply aligned with your soul and your purpose, because honestly, there'll always be evolution happening with your vision, with what you're aiming towards, with what you're doing right now. There'll always be movement forward and evolution. And so it's not about being rigid right here with a long-term kind of goal or plan or vision. It's not about being rigid at all, but it is about just having that intention of something long-term. And you don't need to know what it looks like, and you don't need to know how you're going to get there. It's just more about having this awareness of thinking longer term and like building something that you deeply love right now. And that can change, but right now, just having that intention of building something you love, that feels good, that is, good on your energy. Like, it's not going to deplete you. It's not going to feel stressful. It's something that feels so much more easeful than that. And so if you have a plan towards what you're working towards, great. If you have all of the details, great. If you just have a idea of a vision, also great. It's not about any of that. It's just about this intention of thinking longer term. It is not about this short term, let me rush something, I just need results now, I need results fast. This kind of like forcing of timelines energy, like that's really what this is trying to avoid, basically. It's like, that's not the one right now. That's not what we want to do. It's like, we really want to be focusing on looking after ourselves and doing things that we love and doing things that are sustainable and doing things that are going to support us longer term and doing things that are aligned with us and that do feel good and that do feel easeful. Like, this time of always stressing and forcing things and pushing things and fighting things and this kind of urgent, rushed energy, it feels like just as a collective, we're moving away from it so much. And I think we're just, as a collective, really waking up to how that's not helpful. And, this guidance that's been coming through for a lot of people just feels like an extension of that. It's like starting to think so much more about your energy and how you're feeling and building something and creating something that's going to massively support you. And so I really love this because there's a saying, and it's like something like, I mean, it's not a saying actually, it's just a quote that's on Instagram a lot, but it's like, your soul isn't in a rush. And I know whenever I see that, I'm like, oh, just yes, like your soul is not in a rush. And whenever something similar comes through for my clients from their spirit guides, and they say not those exact words, but they say similar things quite often, and it is always just such a relief to people. It's like a remembering and an instant coming home of like, oh yeah, like my soul's not in a rush. Like, it's always the human that is in that rush and that wants everything now and wants everything instantly, whether that's a certain goal or a certain milestone or a certain outcome or certain success or a certain level of abundance. Like, it's the human and the ego that wants that. The soul is in no rush. The soul is in it for the long haul, right? The soul is in it for just, this is a journey. We're having fun. It's great being here. Like, the soul is not looking at outcomes the same way our human does. And the soul, is here to enjoy the journey and get the most from the journey. And, I really feel like that's whenever we hear that quote or those words of like, the soul is not in a rush, it's just like that instant remembering of like, oh yeah, oh yes, the soul's not in a rush. I am. And it just always feels so good to have that remembering. And like, this message is just really also that it's like, stop thinking about the short term, stop thinking about now, what you need now, what you want now, and just start coming back to that this is a lifelong journey. And that journey is always going to evolve, and that journey is always going to change and pivot as you evolve and as you change. But, like the soul is in it for the long haul. The soul is here just to see it as an entire journey. It's not anywhere to get to. It's not anywhere to, or anything to achieve. It's the whole journey that matters. And this is really that energy. And yeah, I mean, I love this, and it's been very, very impactful for the clients that it has come through for. It's just shifting that mindset of like short term to long term, whether that's in a practical sense, whether that's just in a energetic sense, and just thinking about the sustainability of you, your energy, and how things feel and what it is that you're trying to do right now. Like, we really do get to enjoy what we're doing. We really do get to enjoy life and our careers, our work, our business. And that is how it is sustainable, is by enjoying it. If you're doing something that feels horrific for you and it feels horrific for your energy and it's not supporting you, like, there is a limit to how much you'll be able to do that. Like, there is a limit. And it's not about, oh, okay, then let me just quit my job. It's just starting to think about the longer term of things and, what it is that you do want and how can you start, building something towards that. And just really prioritizing it. So I feel like it's a very potent message as well. And what I love as well about these two themes that have been coming through for, like I said, a lot of clients, is that there is a thread going through both of them of just, how important it is that you are thinking about yourself and your energy and how good things feel or don't feel. And, I think that although this is obviously something for us to always think about, as I always preach, but yeah, right now it's just clearly important to really be focusing on this. And what I love as well is it's like going into the new year with this intention of looking after yourself, thinking about what feels good, thinking about what you want, thinking about, the sustainability of things and thinking about nourishing yourself. Like, I just kind of love that this is coming through now, heading into the end of the year and going into new year. A lot of the time when we head into new year, it's like more goals, more plans, like go bigger, go harder. And although I'm a big fan of all of that, it's also kind of nice to have in the back of your head this intention of looking after yourself at the same time. And this intention of, focusing on what brings you joy, what makes you feel good, what feels like it can be done long term, like what feels enjoyable, what you're being called to, what feels nourishing. Like, it's so good going into the new year with this kind of energy and intention at the back of your head. So yeah, I really love the kind of timing of it. So it's definitely something to bear in mind as well when you are going into new year and you are maybe setting intentions for the year, or whatever your rituals are. I think it's also really potent and powerful to think about this at the same time. So yeah, loving the great timing of it, basically. So yeah, this is everything I wanted to share, and the two things I really wanted to touch upon. So yeah, hopefully this will be able to give you some guidance and some awareness and some focus kind of moving forward and moving through this time. And like, also just really trust that if this is something for you, like, you'll have that feeling of resonance in your body, if this is for you, or equally if it's not. So really, really do trust that. But like I said, I don't know when looking after your energy wouldn't be helpful or supportive. And that is essentially what this all is about. But equally, you just know if this is something for you to really, really focus on right now. And so trust that, really do trust that. So if this was something that you needed to hear, or you had any other good insights, feel free to send me a DM. I adore having conversations on Instagram with you. So please just get in touch, or if you have any questions, anything else, please feel free to send me a message. And as always, if you are able to share this podcast or leave a review, I will be eternally grateful forever and ever. It really does help support me so much. So yeah, thank you in advance if you're able to do that. And yeah, thank you for being here as always. So I'm going to assume that I'm going to do another podcast episode before Christmas. Yeah, I'm going to assume. But you know what? In case I don't, if you do celebrate Christmas, I just want to say Merry Christmas. Have a good one. I hope you have a wonderful time. But hopefully I will have another episode before then. So hopefully I will have you back here for that, which will be hopefully very soon. And as always, I am sending you an enormous amount of love, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.